Well, we've seen lots of energy going into people demanding that businesses be open. And we want to counter that by talking about the importance of having testing. We need to know what's happening before we start opening up the businesses. The statistics, like yesterday, the largest number increase in reported cases in Wisconsin was yesterday. The largest single day increase. 90% of the deaths from coronavirus are for people 60 and older. 9 out of 10 deaths are seniors. This very school, people had to come out and vote in person because Robert Vos and the other Republicans refused to permit us to have absentee ballots. 7 of those people we're honoring today, 7 voters and poll workers, now have contracted the coronavirus disease. We don't know for certain if it's because they voted, but the Wisconsin Department of Health, the people who track the contagion, now consider voting to be one of the risk factors in determining how a person contracted the virus. Voting is now a risk factor to people's health. We have no idea how many people voted and contracted the disease, how many people and their friends and families. We don't know how many people actually are infected. So we're here to demand testing. Stop fighting this. Don't open up the businesses until we have adequate testing, until we know the extent of the infection. And that's our primary reason here, to bring some voice to that issue. Stop fighting the governor. Let's work with the governor. Let's listen to the health officials. Let's make certain it's safe before we start opening up businesses.
Good afternoon. I'm Greg Lewis, the Executive Director of Souls to the Polls and the Assistant Pastor at St. Gabriel's Church of God in Christ. You know, I'm so proud to see people coming out today to stand up against something that is so obviously wrong. You know, I don't have to talk about what I heard about this virus because, you know, I've been through it. And for someone who has not been through it, you probably wouldn't understand, you know, the severity of having to go to a hospital and having the chance to have someone tell you that you probably won't make it. But that's what happens when we talk about this virus. Now, we have to continue to stand up, and we have to get other folks to stand up. And we have to stand up together, black, white, minorities, poor, middle class, all people who use their common sense to talk about how we need to get testing for this virus, because you could be standing here right now with no symptoms and still have the virus. And somebody like me could attract the virus and I could get very, very sick. And people need to understand that. So when we talk about not connecting and not commingling, all those kind of things, it's to save lives. It's to save our families' lives. It's to save our own lives. Because we never know who is carrying this virus. I can't repeat that enough. I don't know where I got it from, but I know the results of it were devastating. So we have an opportunity here to stand up for Wisconsinites. And we need to talk to our Supreme Court justices who are making decisions about our lives while they sit in rooms and they mail in votes because they don't want to be attracting this virus. Now, if they don't want to attract it, why should we be subject to something like that? Everybody here is elderly, I think. I know I am. And we are the most vulnerable subjects of this virus. And I think we have the most wisdom. So we need to let everyone know who we can, that we need to, first of all, make sure that the virus is under control before we start thinking we can get back to normality. There is no normality with this virus. There is no normality with this virus. There is no more normality with this virus. You have to understand one thing. It is not going away if we continue to let it fester. So I'm so proud of everybody here today. And let's make sure we stay 6 feet away from each other, because you never know. You may not feel it, but there could be a possibility that the virus could be there, and someone who is near you could attract it and get very, very sick. So I just want to thank you all for coming out today, and I'm glad that we have some people here who are willing to fight against powers that really, really aren't looking out for our interests. Thank you.